Hey guys, and welcome to the Garage Athlete Show. So today I am joined by Levi Walker. It's just me today. Dan has been hijacked by his twins. So it's just going to be me and Levi having a bit of a chat today, all about himself, his career as a natural pro. Is it still bodybuilder, like in men's physique? Like, was that what you'd kind of call yourself, or is it?
I call anyone who's training to change the body a bodybuilder. That's what it is, isn't it? But
yeah,
I don't know. If people ask, I'll say I do men's physique. I don't say I do bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Even though it's
well, I would always call it a bodybuilder. Like as you said, you compete in the same thing. You do exactly the same stuff, and your sport is obviously your physique. So. I met Levi at the Rhinos Classic was it 2019? I think you won the men's physique division. So I was competing and I managed to actually get to watch Levi on stage, which was amazing. He went on to win his category, even in an untested show as a Natty athlete. So it just shows that boys and girls, you don't need all that juice to be on a competitive level. And then, I just got chatting to him afterwards. He seems like a really nice, genuine guy. Seems to genuinely care about the sport and want to see the sport move forward. And I believe, just wanted to kind of get him on and get to know him a little bit better. So, Levi, why don't you run us through like who you are? Because you're not I think with like natural bodybuilding, like it's hard to be like a full-time pro. So like, what's like you do for a day job? How did you get like into training, and just then a little bit kind of like about your career so far?
Yeah. So I'm just like a normal person. Like everything's the exact same. I think when people hear like pro, they think you get paid millions and you do like crazy sponsorships type of stuff. But I'm just a normal person. I transport like vehicles and stuff for companies.
Okay.
So it could be like ex-lease vehicles or brand new vehicles to dealerships and stuff like that. And when I started all my fitness stuff, actually, I was in the army at the time.
Okay.
Basically, obviously, if you go to the army, they're going to push you to be fit. And I wasn't fit when I joined. I was like the complete opposite spectrum. Mm-hmm. But I always wanted to be in the army, so I thought I'd give it a go.
Yeah.
I started competing in 2017 after. So basically, I was in Canada at the time, and I said to my friends, I was literally I was training for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and I said to my friends, at my 3-year point, I want to be like show ready, like I want to look like I could compete. And then I think it must have been January time. I think it was about 2.5 years at that time I was training. And I was like, right, I'm gonna sign up to a show, do all that kind of stuff. Obviously, no one takes you serious when you say that. Like, oh yeah, whatever. And they did it. And obviously, as soon as you press the send button on the sign up thing, especially the first time, you're like, about to kick off. I did that show, USN Classic 2017. I was literally not expecting to get anywhere with it. I just wanted to say that I competed. Yeah. And I won. And then I don't know, that's where the bug kind of started since then.
Yeah.
I've done how many shows I've done? I did 3 shows with UK DFBA, that USN Classic, and 2 of the British International Championships. I've done a show in Denmark as well, natural, and 2 Rhinos Classics, 1 WNBF World Championship as an amateur, and I won that. And then I had my debut pro in the Worlds 2019, I think it was. Come 4th on the debut in the Worlds, So, and then here I am today. Just
wow. So it seems like you've been all over and kind of you jumped into the deep end. So you've been training for a year and a half, then decided you want to compete. Seems like you got into really good shape. So I think I've seen some of like your before, your photos from like your first competition. You were in very, very good shape. So I can see why you kind of came out and won that show. So was that first one in Canada, or had you come back to the
no, I wasn't. I was in Canada when I decided in my head
Okay.
that I wanted to do it. Well, I wanted to be in good enough shape to do a show, and that was at my 1.5 year point. I said at my 3 year point, I want to look like I could compete. Obviously, it's like an ambition. I had no at that time. I had like no intention to actually compete, but I wanted to look like I could.
Okay.
And then it come to like 6 months before or something like that, and then I was like, "Well, I'm doing it." It just popped in my head, and I went to the website and I just signed on.
Yeah.
And then,
as you said, signing that name on that dotted line, it changes the whole level of focus, like 100%. So like I've prepped a couple of guys that said they've wanted to compete in like men's physique. So I got hold of them about a year beforehand. We went through an initial recomp, then through a bit of a building phase. Then about 6 weeks into the prepping diet, and they've basically just fizzled out because they haven't had that thing that's like, right, I'm doing it now.
Yeah.
And other things have come up in life, and people don't understand about how much this stuff can completely take over your life if you are not in the right place in order to be able to deal with it. I think the more times that you do it, the easier it is to manage the process, because you know what to expect. So you know how to overcome those obstacles kind of like before they happen. So you won your, just going back to your point before, you won your first show. So did you go from that, because that was the USN Classic, which is like
that was a qualifier for the British. Obviously, UK FBA have various qualifiers throughout the country, and then everyone gets together, all the winners or so get together in October usually.
Okay. And how did you do with the nationals then on that first prep?
I won that as well. I won my category.
Well. Okay.
Yeah, and then.
But that's an impressive like rookie season to have come in.
I know. Yeah, you see it. You even see it now. Like some people, they do shows now. Well, say last year, the year before, and they're like, "Yes, my first show," and you see it all the time. Like some people literally just like fly straight away.
Yeah, and they come in and they're just ready to kind of go.
I kind of felt on my first show, kind of when I won, I kind of felt like, what the hell happened? Like,
okay,
I don't know, you don't really believe that you won anything, and then you come off and it's like, oh, congratulations, and like, you're just like, what? Especially when you wasn't expecting.
What made you decide to be a natty athlete rather than kind of going down the assisted route? You'll see a lot of guys do quite well naturally, and then they progress then into kind of the assisted side of stuff, because as I mentioned before, like that's where a lot of the money is. Obviously natural bodybuilding is coming up a lot more now. I think in the next 5 to 10 years, I think there'll be more money coming into the sport. But yeah, so what made you decide to stay natty?
I don't know, it's kind of a weird thing, because I went to Body Power for the first time in 2017 as well, before the show. And you know, because I've never been to an event like that before, and you see everyone walking around and everyone looks like amazing, and like, well, I need to get on it. Like that's what you kind of think in your head, and I left, and then obviously that kind of like melted like in your head, and like, well, I'm going to compete. Obviously, I didn't do this there. I don't really care much about steroids. I didn't do anything. And then I just thought, yeah, that's kind of triggered me to compete even more. And then I don't know. I've never really bothered to. It doesn't really interest me, I guess. I don't know. Okay. I mean, I don't have nothing like against anyone who takes it. Like, if they want to do it, they want to do it. But I don't know. It's not really something that's really interested me. Apart from that, when I walked out of that show and I was seeing all the idolized kind of bodies, I'm like, yeah, I want that now. But then a day or two after, I was like, I don't care. Let's go to gym.
I think it's one of those where it's refreshing to meet somebody who competes at a relatively high level and isn't like on a witch hunt for like you'll meet some natural athletes that are just like holier than thou because they're staying natty. However, like for me it's a personal choice. Like the risk to the reward doesn't make sense. So I probably am not ever going to be like a top tier bodybuilder where you're going to be making hundreds of thousands of pounds every year. So I'd rather have 10 more years of my life at the back end by not putting what is essentially, well, it's a drug. All drugs are toxic, like whether it's paracetamol or whether it's testosterone, like anything artificial like that is probably going to be shaving some years off your life at the back end, even if you do it sensibly. So yeah, it's just the risk to reward ratio. But I don't take anything away from those guys. Like those guys still have to train really hard. They're not getting anything, if anything, because the level of competition jumps up like this. What I don't like is the guys that take stuff and then compete in the natural competition. So I can't remember, is it the UK? I think it's the WMBF has got a wall of shame, hasn't it, of all the drugs cheats that have been caught out and they get put up and like basically.
No, that's I don't think WMBF have that. I think it's the new. Oh, well, they're not new. I'm just checking. It's INBA. They've got a wall of shame, and on it they say who it was and what they got caught doing. And I was having a look through it, and I was like, yeah, this is good. It's a good thing. It's kind of like you don't want to be on that wall of shame. So you kind of
exactly. It's one of those things. I understand about like fitness models and stuff not wanting to be as like the 300-pound guys. They're just like, yeah, I take steroids because it's obvious that they do.
Yeah.
But what the men's physique guys and stuff don't want you to know is like somebody who looks like aspirational. So somebody's just like a cover model and stuff. Yeah, they're probably using test as well. But if they come out and say that, they'll probably lose their sponsorships because the companies don't want to be associated with it. They know they're doing it. They just don't want it to be publicly known that they're kind of doing it. So I can kind of see why they do it. Right, I'll go and compete in a natural fed, and therefore I've then got that to then back up the fact that I'm natural, even though I'm not. But then, if you do it, you've got to be really, you get to it, and then I think they just get a little bit addicted to the winning. So if you go up to, is it at national levels, you do a lie detector as well?
I did lie detectors. My first lie detector was in Denmark, and it was their national, but to me it wasn't like UK DFBA is kind of like I consider that to be my national kind of thing. That was just a show.
Right. Okay.
So
makes sense.
I think they do. I don't actually know. I've never really asked, but
I think UK DFBA, it's if you win your category at a qualifier, you've got to do a urine test. So if you win, or if you're in the top 3, you have to do a urine test, and they randomly test like people at the show. And then I'm pretty sure it's lie detectors I think it's lie detectors and a urine test when you get to national/international level. I know the guy who runs the UK DFBA is pretty hot on it. He doesn't want anybody who is representing his brand to get caught out as a drugs cheat. Like I can't remember his name. He was on AJ Morris's podcast recently. I don't know if you listened to that one.
I think you're on about Lee. I think
Lee, definitely. So, how do you manage to balance how do you manage to balance working full time with like the amount you need to train, getting your food in, getting your steps in? I'm guessing if you're sat driving a car all day, it's probably not conducive to getting like 12, 15, 20,000 steps in a day. So like, how do you find like balancing it? Because I think that's the hardest part for the average person is to figure out like how do I get it all to fit in?
Yeah, because I do quite a lot of hours as well. It'd be quite surprising for some people. But when I do, because I do a bit of steps working, even though I drive quite a lot, sometimes I've got to like literally walk quite a bit as well, depending on where the vehicles are, whatever. But when I do want to like cut down, say, body fat, what I did last year, literally through my whole prep, was I'd do my training and I'd do like 25 minutes or half an hour of cardio straight after. So my sessions would last like 2 hours, but everything was done there and then straight away. And then whatever calories kind of burnt throughout the day, even though it wasn't a lot, it's just little bonuses on top.
Okay, makes sense.
Pretty much just what I can do in the gym. And obviously, I say during lockdown, not being able to train. So I've got a gym in my garage at home, but I work away quite a lot.
Yeah.
So during the week, I've literally not been able to train whatsoever. So if I was prep, I wouldn't be able to prep doing that, I don't think.
No.
Just training just the weekends will be really hard. I could try, but I don't know if I'd make it in time. I'll have to do like a really long prep just to like get into it slowly. But
yeah. So how many days a week do you train? So you said you work away quite a lot. So are you utilizing gyms while you're away? Like, how do you work around your work schedule?
Yeah, literally just that. Like say if I'm in Sheffield or something, so I've got because I go everywhere all over the country. I've got gyms that are like my go-to gym in that area of the country.
Right.
So obviously Sheffield's the Oxflex Rotherham, and if I go down south, like in Hertfordshire somewhere, it'll be Norton Gym. I've got like, I know if I'm going somewhere, I know that's the gym that I'm training at.
Okay,
and I kind of
so you've built that up over years then.
Yeah, so I've made out like, I know if I'm going here, I can go to that gym. So it doesn't actually affect me that much. I've still got a gym to go to, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's not too bad. But
so how many days a week do you train every day, or is it just like what's your split?
Kind of weird. I used to train 6 days a week, sometimes even 7. Like sometimes I love it. Back then, like I'd love it that much that I'd literally train every single day. Obviously, I used to be injured quite a lot back then as well. I've not been injured for quite a long time now. So now, obviously during lockdown when it was 3 days a week, my strength went up quite a lot, and it kind of taught me that rest is actually really good. So now I only train 5 days a week, so it's two days rest a week, and yeah, my strength is still going up. So I kind of learned that you don't need crazy frequency to get strong and get big or anything. So 5 days a week, it's kind of still good enough for my addiction, or what I'm going to call it, like my love of it. But it's not too much where it's kind of hindering my performance in the gym.
Okay, so you've found that balance between, and I think we find that a lot. So obviously this goes out to a home gym group. So when you've got a home gym, sometimes it's about reining people back in, because like you said, they just want to go out and train like every single day. If they're not doing weights, they're out there doing like HIIT, or they're doing cardio, or kind of like whatever it is, just because it's there and they can use it.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, I think you've highlighted a really good point there, that like rest is really, really important. And it's almost lockdown like forced you to rest more. So you had to be more efficient with the sessions that you were doing, because you could only do Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You've then got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days rest. So you can batter your body in those 3 days within 4 days rest. It's not a split that people would normally pick. They'd want to spread it out kind of like throughout the week. But as you said, your strength's been going up. You've been able to see better numbers. Has that transferred back across now that you're able to use the gym? So those exercises that you've got stronger in, have you found now you've been able to bring the frequency back up to 5 days a week? Like, it's improved some of the things that you wanted to work on?
It's kind of weird, because I kind of thought during lockdown I was ticking over. I mean, my strength was going up, but I didn't consider it to be like a massive thing. And now in the gym, like the amount of strength I've got now compared to what I had before the last lockdown is crazy. Like it's so, say like my back squat, I think or even my front squat, I was doing 100 kilo for, how many reps was it? I think it's about 5-6 reps. And I'm quite tall, so it doesn't sound, it's not a lot of weight, but it's a long travel distance. And now
I was going to say, as a bodybuilder as well, you're doing higher rep ranges.
Yeah. And now I've literally added on like 70 kilo onto that lift over how long was lockdown? Like 3-4 months?
3 months, yeah.
Yeah, like it's crazy. And I'm now moving on to my back squat. That's gone up. My bench has gone up like ridiculously. So it's kind of weird for it wasn't what I was expecting after lockdown anyway.
But as you've just said, like you've got in, you've done what you can with what you have, and you've made the most out of it. You just didn't sit back and go, oh well, I can't get to the gym, I'm going to lose everything. But do you think because it forced you to get back to basics in terms of squat variations, bench variations, deadlift variations, like because you'd been doing all the accessory stuff and you could just literally get back to the meat and potatoes of training, which if you go back and watch Arnie, I'm trying to think of some of the big bodybuilders, Ronnie, Dorian, like they all squat, well, except for Dorian, because he fucked his knees. They all squat, they all did bench and incline bench, they all deadlifted, and they were strong in those movements. And I think a lot of people do a lot more of the isolation work than they kind of need to, whereas actually reverting some of the work like back to those compound movements, or at least have that as the spine of your program and just do a little bit of isolation work. I think people would make a lot more progress a lot faster.
I'd probably say a minimum 75% of my home gym workouts were compounds. I didn't really do that many kind of accessory work, and if it was, it'd be like flies or something small like that, but I wouldn't be doing like crazy banded exercise or anything. It'd just be like proper basic like stuff. It'd be like stuff if you were to go to a school and they teach you gym stuff, the stuff you learn on the first day, that's pretty much what I did, like all the basic kind of
but
stuff.
As you said, it's had a massive transfer. If you were doing before like 100 on squats, like a set of like 6 to 8, whereas you can now do 180 or 170, sorry, for a set. Is that still for a set of 6 to 8, or is that more like the 10 to 12?
So if I was to do 6 to 8 on a front squat, it'd be about 140 kilo.
Yeah.
So it's about 40 kilo increase.
Yeah.
Even my one,
it's what, it's 40% more weight. So at the end of the day, like to stimulate muscle growth, it's intensity and then time and attention, which both of those things have increased. So in theory, a stronger muscle, and this is why you'll find a lot of people do like strength blocks and then hypertrophy blocks and then a strength block so that they can neurologically increase the amount of weight that they can lift. And then once they can lift that, once they're comfortable doing that, they then increase the number of sets they can do kind of with that weight. Yeah. So I've already said to Dan, so my co-host that normally hosts this with me, he's a power lifter. And he said to me, because I'm competing in somewhere between July and October, I haven't really nailed down a date at the moment, so I just want to see how things pan out. With everything opening up, there's a lot of temptation around, as I'm sure you know. But we then agreed that basically once I've competed this year, because I'm getting married next April, I don't want to put a massive amount of weight back on, because as you have probably found from previous diets, it's very, very easy to yo-yo straight back up to a high body weight. So by giving myself another goal straight away after I compete, it should be easier to build that weight back up slower. So my goal is to get back up to about 75, 76 kilos, but then get a 200 kilo deadlift and as close to a 200 kilo squat as I can get, with doing essentially the powerlifting style stuff. So for me personally, like I'm putting a big strength block in to give me a focus so that I don't just become a fat jabber over the next like year. So next question, because when was the last time you competed and when are you next looking to compete?
So last time I competed was November 2019.
Okay.
So, and this is the long off season. Before my first show, I was always one of the types of people who wanted to be ripped all the time and be strong. Right. Obviously, you can't have both. It's one or the other most times. So, but I was always on like 2,500 calories or below until up to that show. And then I've had this is my third off season since I've been competitively bodybuilding, the longest one so far. My next show, I'm looking at doing October. So UK WBA British finals.
Yeah.
So I believe they've got physique pro category now,
Okay.
and that's what I'm looking at doing next. If not, maybe one of those two bros natural shows.
Yeah.
The only thing that puts me off that is it's literally just urine test.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, and also because it's two bros.
If you're on steroids.
Yeah, I think what they might do is they'll probably bring that in at a later date. They've probably just done the P test to get people through the door, so that then, yes, they might get some people then that are trying to fudge the system. Basically, they can't make it in an untested two bro show, so they just, well, I'll just go for this one. But what will probably happen is that'll get wheedled out. I think it's the first year that they've done a natural event, isn't it? So they're probably just trying to get the numbers in.
Last year.
Oh, did they do one last year as well?
Because apparently they did it last year. Apparently they're giving away IFBB Pro cards. This is what I heard. I've not actually checked all myself. To the natural winners of each category.
Really? Okay.
So if I was untested, if I was someone on drugs, and I knew there's a natural show that just got to stop taking steroids 6-8 weeks before whatever to get on the system, and I can get my pro card quite easy. That's kind of,
it's going to be very, very tempting.
If I'd like, I don't know one. Yes, like yes, the temptations there. That person who's desperate for a pro card to just do that show. So I don't know what
it depends on who's judging it, because the guys, if they are involved with the UK DFBA, the BMBF, they're gonna know what is achievable naturally. Like, and also when somebody cycles off test, if they don't
prove it though.
Yeah, if somebody cycles off test, it's one of those. It's quite. I think if they say
I'm not giving it the.
Yeah, I think if they got a pro, I would then be right. We're randomly drug testing you, like, for the next year, 2 years. You've got your pro card through us. We now have the right to randomly drug test you whenever we want, and just see if they lose a shitload of size. That's how I'd solve it anyway.
Yeah, but I think you're not a natural IFBB pro. You're just a IFBB pro.
Yeah.
I don't think they can like segregate you and just test you without testing other people. But I don't know. I don't know how.
Well, what they could then do is they've got their IFBB pro card. Okay, I'm jumping on juice now. I'm going to go compete with the big boys.
Yeah, but if you're going to get IFBB, I'm getting tongue twisted. If you're going to get that pro card, then if you're going to be competitive as a pro, you're going to have to get on it anyway, unless you're going to compete natural with them all the time, which is like, there's not going to be many.
I think there's one IFBB pro at the moment, isn't there? Is that Bob Waterhouse?
Yeah.
And there's a big question mark of whether he would have won the classic physique if it wasn't for COVID last year and like the number of competitors and all that kind of stuff. But I think in classic physique, there's an opportunity for natural guys to compete, because obviously it's a height to weight ratio, and depending on where they set that ratio, like, there's no benefit to being on juice because you can get to that height to weight ratio kind of like naturally, and also people don't tend to blow out their physiques as well. Okay, so we've covered training. Right, nutrition wise. So first question is, do you prep yourself or do you have a prep coach? And then second wise, have you got a particular diet plan that you do? Like, how would you tend to structure your diets when you're trying to get down into competition conditions? So yeah, first, have you got a prep coach or do you prep yourself?
Yes, I've always kind of prepped myself. Just before my first show, I did only because I didn't know the bodybuilding scene. I didn't know you can get coaches and stuff. I wasn't really didn't really care about social media, so I wasn't surrounded by it. So I didn't know. I just thought you'd do it yourself. So I did a sports nutrition course just so I can learn the basics of diet. And then I just prepped myself at first year, and obviously it was a successful year for me the first year. So I was like, oh, this is good. And then obviously looking through social media and stuff, and I'm seeing everyone's got coaches. I'm like, what they've got coaches for? Obviously, the coaches are good, but when I was new, you've just prepped yourself and you've just won 2 shows, and you kind of think, what are they for? And obviously, you learn the second eye and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But even now, I just think I could just do it myself. And if I want a second eye, I can ask like some of the friends I've made through competition and stuff anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're now quite well immersed in the culture. So if you need a second eye, you've got other professional Natty bodybuilders and other people that are high up in the sport that you can go, right, am I on track, or do I need to change anything? Like, I think for me personally, I think it's a good idea if somebody has never done a diet like to that level before. Having that second eye is very, very useful, but it's not necessary. I need the accountability. I've tried to diet myself before, but because I'm spending all day every day, because I am an online coach, that's what I do. I spend all day every day looking at people's training and diet. Like, when I then try and do it for myself, it's almost like that. It just tips the boat like that a little bit too far. And I'm also quite emotionally attached to food and cardio. I love food and I hate cardio. So when those decisions need to be made of, right, I need to pull some food or I need to add some cardio in, I know that I'm going to hate every minute of cardio, and I know that I'm going to hate eating less food. So it means that I don't make those decisions at the right times. So I hand that responsibility off to somebody else so that I can concentrate on executing. But if somebody is more self-disciplined and they can do that on their own and they can make those decisions and they can look at things in an objective way and not an emotional way, then loads of athletes have prepped themselves and done quite well at it. I think you've just got to have the right mentality about it, and also recognize that if it's a weakness, I recognize that I can't do it without accountability. That's why I have a coach. And I always hire coaches where we can have discussions about stuff. I don't want a coach that's just going to give me a PDF that's like, right, do this workout, take these supplements and do this food. I'm going to hire somebody who is intelligent, and I can go, I don't agree with that, but I want you to explain to me why you want me to do it that way. I mean, I'm not that much of an arsehole. I don't do it all the time. But if somebody's suddenly like, I know I perform better when I've got carbs in my diet. If somebody was suddenly dropping my carbs down to 100 grams a day, I'd be going, hang on a second. No, that's not going to work for me because I know me, sort of thing. So like, sorry, carry on.
No, I was going to say, even though I didn't notice it my first year, because I didn't know what to expect. But say like my second year of 2019, it can be quite stressful. Also, like you're saying, sometimes you need someone else to make the decision. But I think like I've just kind of got used to, like, if I want it, I'm going through it, and if I need to drop my carbs or if I need to do more cardio, I'm going to do it because I know that's what needs to be done.
Yeah.
And obviously, you sound like a foodie, like. With me, I can eat rice and chicken like all the time if I had to. Like, it's not like I don't care about flavor or anything. Just hot sauce and everything. That's what matters. But I don't taste it anyway. So, I think,
what's your low calorie hot sauce of choice?
But
sorry, I think the connection's not disabled.
Is it Frank's?
Frank's.
Or is it?
I'm just looking it up. So I'm looking for some condiments at the moment that don't have much calories.
Yeah, there's one that's I think it's like 11 calories per 100 milliliters, and obviously the tub is like 125 milliliters or something. I think it's Frank's. I can't remember what it's called. I'm also looking. Frank's.
It's red hot. It's like a wing sauce.
Well, I've used Frank's. I've used Frank's quite a lot. Yeah, it's not I think they do buffalo.
Yeah, buffalo wing sauce. Okay, I will look into that. I've just got some skinny.
I think it was, I can't remember. Have you so many? Oh, the skinny foods.
Yeah, I've just got some of their sweet chili sauce. Right, their ketchup and barbecue sauce was okay. Like, it doesn't taste like the real thing. Not going to sugarcoat it for anyone. Like, if you're gonna have it, if you like are a big fan of like your ketchups and your barbecues and stuff like that, it doesn't taste the same. It's got a weird chemically taste. However, when you're 6 weeks out and literally, as you said, you're eating chicken and rice like 2 or 3 times a day, and you want to make the food almost as bland as possible so that you're not hungry. When food tastes amazing and you're that fucking hungry, you then want to eat all of it. So actually having those sauces where it just gives it a little bit of flavor, but then it's also not, it's not quite right. You're not then wanting to get loads of it in. I think it actually helps the prep a little bit, it being a little bit off. So when you are going into a prep, so we'll be wrapping this up pretty soon actually. So when you are going into a prep, like, how do you structure your food? Like, are you a 3 meals a day, a 6 meals a day? And then do you have anything specific? Like, do you focus on the peri-workout nutrition, or is it literally just split evenly throughout the
day? So at the start of my, because in the off season, you're going to eat kind of whatever you want, really, unless you're rigid all year round, which I'm not. So I'd say I was 16 weeks now, I'll just start fizzing out stuff like, if I have to eat sweets or whatever it is, I'll just start. I'll take that out 1 week and I take out something else the next week. I just kind of fizz. Instead of like snapping like that and taking all the food out, I think that's quite like a one-way ticket to losing it, and then you're like, oh, I miss all that stuff too quick. Fizz out nice and slow.
Okay.
That's what I do. Usually 5 to 6 meals a week I'd go on. And pretty much, I think 3 of them, the exact same. It would be like, at the start of the prep, it'd be like 100 grams of rice split, or I think like 100, 150 grams split between 3 tubs, then chicken split between 3 tubs. And I'd have my breakfast, which would be normally oats or something. And then post-workout shake with Cocoa Pops or something like that. And then I have like a protein bar or something for later on. And then as I go through my diet, and it just, the only thing that changes is just the size, but the food's just like the same. My balls just start dropping the closer I get. And then sometimes when some days that you really can't be bothered to train, or you're tired or you're lethargic or something, I might treat myself. Or if I know I'm having a massive leg day, I'd have like a refeed day the day before, and then smash that leg day or something. I suppose.
So how often would you say you're having a refeed over 16
I was starting
prep?
high calories and work calories down.
Yeah.
Definitely at least once a week. 100%.
Okay.
Like, so I kind of believe that you'd almost burn more calories if you just eat slightly more one day, because without realizing you're gonna have more energy, you'll probably do more work, like more intense workout the next day, and that's gonna, obviously, the harder you work out, the longer you're gonna burn calories after it. So I kind of see it as that kind of benefit of it's gonna help me more than it's gonna hinder me.
So do you find like you go like, say, hard diet like Monday to Friday? Do you weigh yourself like every day as well? Oh, signal. I think we might have lost it.
Do I?
So sorry, I think we lost you for a second there. So I said, are you tracking your weight every day, or do you like track it like as an app, like once or twice a week, or like how accurate are you being with that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I jump on the scales every morning for the weight, and that's when I decide. You can see what happens with weight anyway. Sometimes it's up and down all over the place, but the mean or the average of it works out. Friday, I've lost half a kilo or whatever.
Yeah. So
I know the next week I'll just keep it somewhat the same.
Makes sense. So what I was saying is, do you find that like you go hard then Monday to Friday where you'll see like big drops, and then you have, say, your refeed where obviously weight will jump back up, so all the glycogen thing comes in, but then by the time you get back down to that new low weight, that is that kind of that little bit lower. So you will obviously get these doing it like that. Oh, what's the word? It's not it's calorie cycling essentially, but just with refeed. Well, it's carb cycling, sorry. It's just with refeeds, and I think that probably helps to keep you a little bit sane as well. If you know you're getting a refeed like once a week. So when you refeed, is it clean food? So is it just right, instead of having my 250 grams of rice, I'm having 500 grams of rice, or is it like something that you wouldn't normally associate with a dieting phase? You have a treat.
Yeah, I'll treat myself to something. Like, I think my go-to thing, that's probably gonna like tickle some people, trigger people, whatever. But when I diet, I like to have cookies. Okay. So I'd have all my normal food on my refeed day, but a pack of cookies as well, and I just eat the whole pack. And I think it's like 7 calories or something. Yeah. But yeah, as you said, that's what I've done in previous off seasons.
I'm not being funny. Like, you've competed at like world's level, so yes, it's going to trigger some people, but that works for you because you're able to have that pack of cookies and then go back to eating your chicken and rice the next day. Whereas some people would have that pack of cookies and that's then triggered them, and then it starts to spiral. So yeah, I think it's interesting. Like a lot of
I've noticed as well when I've had.
Sorry, the signal's really bad.
I was going to say
talking over each other. It's okay.
Yeah, what's that? I was going to say when I have the cookies, I noticed my weight would go up the next day, and then it takes 3 days for my weight to return to what it was the day that I had the cookies, and then after that it just drops even lower.
Makes sense.
And it just does that all the time, and that's what I've noticed. And that's I'm not saying if I didn't have the cookies it wouldn't still go down. It still would, but I kind of think, well, I can have the cookies because I know I'm going to go down anyway. So, and it helps with my workouts and stuff. So,
and that's just it. Like, whether it's psychological, physiological, like kind of like whatever it is, it works. So if it works, then why change it, sort of thing. And I think it's interesting what you're saying. I think if I ever prepped for myself, I would probably do something similar, just because I know, like, I've got a family. The weekends is probably going to be a couple of higher calorie days. I think I would try to go a little bit harder Monday to Friday when there's a bit more structure in there and the kids aren't around, and trying to have takeaways and stuff. And then on the weekend, just having a couple of extra 100 calories, because I train on the weekend as well. So like when we finish here, I'll be going out to train legs. But yeah, so I think that'd be a really, really good place to wrap up, just because I know the guys will really enjoy the cheat meal talk. So if anybody wants to come and find you, like, where can they find you? On Instagram? I'm not sure if you do anything on Facebook as well. Like, where's the best place to come and find out more about Levi?
I'm not overly active at the minute on Instagram. Okay. I'm trying to find value in what I'm posting. So I've kind of got bored of just posting just for the sake of posting. So, but if they wanted to, it's Levi Walker WNBF Pro is my name. But once I start prepping, I'm going to have stuff to post, and I want to kind of keep it like week by week, so you can see the transformation from week. Kind of similar to what I did in 2019. I always posted my progress pictures of week by week. So it could be something interesting to follow. I'm also looking to start YouTube again soon. So that might be
awesome,
interesting when I start prep.
Well, I'll definitely be tuning in. Let me know when kind of those are coming up, and it'll be really, really cool to watch your prep and your progress over this year. And good luck in whatever shows you do end up deciding to go for, buddy. So if the guys want to come across to me, I'm at DHPT on both Instagram and Facebook. And yeah, been really, really good to catch up with you, mate. And best of luck with your competitions this year. Now go and enjoy some food.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, no worries. Right. See you later.
Yeah, dude.
Bye.
Yeah. Now just leave.